Hey, this is Susan Milner, also known as McCartney Green, and this is a redo because I was told that chapter 12 of book number 6, the audio didn't work. So let's try this again. This is book number 6, The Worth of Souls in Jesus' Name, chapter 12. You sure you don't want to join the game? Jack asked Mickey. She smiled at the large man who was, at the present moment, sitting cross-legged on the carpet in the middle of the living room, teaching her baby sister how to play poker. No thanks, Jack. I don't feel like playing anything. I'm just feeling antsy. I wish I'd remembered to ask for my computer back. Then maybe I could write and take my mind off things. "Do you want to talk about anything?" Jack asked. "Because I'm a good listener." She tucked her legs up under her. "I imagine you are, but no. You two just go on playing. Do you mind if I turn on the television?" "Of course we don't mind, Mick. It's your house," Marissa said. "You want me to make some popcorn?" "Maybe later, sweetie. Thanks." Mickey took up the remote and switched on the TV. The 7 o'clock news was just coming on, and the top story was the arrest of Senator Talman Daly and the fact that he'd been charged with accessory to kidnapping. The room quieted as its 3 occupants listened to the report. They didn't hear anything new until the very end of the report. It showed the senator being questioned by reporters as he was getting into his limo. Mickey wasn't surprised that he'd granted the impromptu press conference. He'd always loved publicity, good or bad. It was what he said that caught her off guard. Marissa gasped in surprise at her father's words as he painted a picture of her sister as being unstable and violent. Her head snapped around to look at Mickey, who stood, her mouth gaping open, her eyes wide. Marissa and Jack both rose, and Jack's arm went around Mickey's waist to support her. He eased her back to sit down, worried she might collapse. And Marissa knelt in front of her and took Mickey's hand. "Don't worry about what he said. It doesn't matter." When Mickey didn't respond, Jack tried. "It'll all come out in the end, Mickey. The truth will come out. Try not to take it so hard." "Mick," Marissa said, the worry evident in her voice. Mickey's eyes flicked down to Marissa and then slowly moved over to look at Jack. "I'd like to go upstairs to bed now," she said, her voice barely audible. "Well, let me help you up the steps," Jack said. "Marissa, you come and help her get undressed, okay?" "No, I don't want any help. I just want to be alone. Please. You two just stay here. Play your game. I need to be alone." She rose and went slowly up the steps. "I hate him," Marissa said vehemently before she ran up the steps to the room she'd commandeered as her own. And Jack pulled out his cell. "Yeah," Jeff said when he answered. "Where are you?" Jack asked quickly. "I met Agent Stevens at Doris Suarez's home. We met with some of her family. I'm on my way back now. Why? What's wrong?" Daly took a stab at Mickey using the media. He went on to describe exactly what Daly said in the interview. "Well, damn him," Jeff mumbled. "How's she holding up?" "Not good. I think you should get over here." "I'm on my way. I'm about 20 minutes away." "Hold on. I think I hear a car on the drive." Jeff waited while Jack checked it out. He heard Jack curse. He heard footsteps running. He heard Jack call Mickey's name twice. "What is going on?" Jeff asked. Jack was breathing hard when he spoke into the phone. "She's gone. She snuck out the door, got in the car, and drove away." Okay, Jeff said calmly. "Okay. Don't go after her. Stay there with Marissa. I know where she's headed. I'll take care of it." "Man, Jeff, I'm sorry." "Oh, it happens. I know that all too well." "Yeah. Keep me informed. I'll call Jason." "Thanks." Jeff ended the call and floored it. New scene. Marion Daly hurried to the door, wondering who would be pounding on the door this time of evening. She hoped it wasn't one of the reporters who'd been hanging out all day. The police had come and ushered them away twice now. She thought they'd all gone home. Whoever it was, she intended to let them know just how rude they were. She jerked open the door. "Mickey, what are you doing here?" Mickey pushed her way into the house. "I've come to see that monster you're married to." Marion gasped and stepped in front of her daughter. You can't see him. It's been a hard day for him, Mackenzie. Besides, your father's at the dinner table, and you know how he is about mealtime." "Well, first, he's not my father. And second, get out of my way, Mom," Mickey said through gritted teeth. Well, I'm sorry, Mickey, but I have no choice. I can't let you in to see your father right now. Oh, you're right about one thing, Mickey said as she grabbed her mother's arm and slung her away. You have no choice. Mickey stormed into the dining room, and Talman looked up at her calmly. He touched his napkin to his sneering lips and replaced it in his lap. The finest china graced the table, apparently in celebration of his being home from jail. Mickey eyed rare roast beef, new potatoes, blackened asparagus, and chocolate layer cake. She glared at the slim, distinguished man sitting at the head of the table, and she called him a string of names and ended with, I despise you. Mickey, you know how I hate to be disturbed at mealtime. I don't freaking care how you hate to be disturbed. Don't you speak to me like that in my house, young lady, he warned, his eyes narrowing. Or what, Talmond? What will you do? She moved closer to him. And don't you dare call me by my given name. You, young lady, are pushing your luck. It didn't work, did it? Mickey shouted, moving closer. I'm supposed to be dead. It didn't work, and now you have no choice but to try to sway the media. I have no idea what you're going on about. Mickey let go a string of curses at the man. Mickey, Marion said from behind, get yourself under control. You know better than this. How dare you come in here using that kind of language and making crazy accusations? Mickey whirled. Screw you, mother dearest. She turned back quickly. You're not going to get away with it, you cowardly pile of crap. Now, Mickey, we'll get you all the help you need, Talman said, a sly smile on his lips. Mickey screamed and lunged. She was on him in seconds, her hands around his throat. His chair tipped over backwards, and she lay sprawled on top of him, doing her best to choke the life out of him. He struggled to breathe while he tried to get his hands around her wrists, and finally he was able to wrestle her hands away from his throat. He pushed her over onto her back, reversing positions, and pinned her hands down beside her head. You'll pay for that, little girl, like always. Oh, what are you going to do, Daddy? Take me upstairs and beat me again? Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you? He grinned. Oh, yes, I would. He hauled back and struck her across the face. I dearly would, he said, swinging again, backhanding her this time. Mickey gave all she had, struggling against him, bucking, and finally toppled him enough to get out from under him. She rose quickly, but he swung at her again, catching her in the eye this time. She stumbled back against the sideboard. Wine glasses. So sorry. Wine glasses crashed. She picked one up and threw it at him, hitting him in the chest. She grabbed another and let it fly, but he ducked in the nick of time. He rounded on her. She didn't back away. She charged him again, this time pummeling him with her fist. He reared back and punched her in the mouth, sending her to the floor. Disoriented and moaning, she rolled over and tried to stand. A Talman stood there waiting, his eyes gleaming. Come on, brat. You think you can take me on? Come on. Mickey rose, holding onto the table. Her hand closed around the knife, lying next to the platter of beef. And she lunged at Talman. He jumped back just in time. She lunged again and again. He dodged the knife several times before he grabbed her wrist and hit her hand against the table until she let go of the knife. This time, you're going to jail, girl. A mental ward. You won't see the light of day for years. She screamed and picked up his plate and cracked it over his head. He stumbled back. She picked up a smaller bread plate and threw it at him, then another, and then a glass and a fork. Stop it, Mickey, Marion cried. Stop! Mickey fully intended to kill the man, so it surprised her when, as she went to throw the bowl of potatoes, an arm snagged around the waist and lifted her off the floor. An arm snagged her around the waist and lifted her off the floor. Mickey struggled against whoever it was. It's me, Mick. It's me. Stop it now. No more, Jeff said. She glanced back at him briefly, then let go and threw the potatoes. She struggled again to get at her stepfather, her arms and legs reaching out toward her intended victim. Let me go, Jeff. I'm going to kill him. Let me go. Jeff held her tight, and Talman advanced, and Jeff pointed a finger at the man. You stay right there, Daly, or I'll kill you myself. Don't you think you can come into my house and threaten me? I'm calling the police. Jeff nodded. Go ahead. I'll have her arrested, and it will only go to prove what I said today. The girl is mentally ill. Oh, that's not what I saw here. I saw her coming to confront you about what you said about her to the media today, and you lost your temper and beat her up." "Well, that's a lie," Talman said. Jeff shrugged. "Look at her face." "They won't believe you." "You think? I'm much more credible than you right now." "Well, my wife will attest to the truth." "Your wife? The one doing so many prescription drugs that she doesn't know up from down?" Mickey gasped and looked over to her mother, and the woman's eyes lowered. Jeff tightened his hold on Mickey and began backing out toward the front door. "We're leaving now." Mickey surged forward, but Jeff jerked her against him, and since she couldn't throw punches, she threw words instead. "I hate you," she hollered. "I hate you both. I hope you burn in hell. But first I hope you die a horrible, painful death." "Hush now," Jeff said, as he got her out the front door. He moved quickly, tossed her into the passenger side of his truck. He closed the door and headed to get behind the wheel, but before he could make it to his side, she got right back out and ran full speed back toward the house. Jeff grabbed her again and put her back into the truck. "Stay, damn it," he growled at her. He quickly hopped behind the wheel and took off. Jeff leaned over and rummaged through the glove box, and when he found some tissues, he held them out to her. "Here, Mick, you're bleeding." Shakily, she took the tissues, but said nothing. They drove in silence the rest of the way home. By the time they'd gotten back to her house, she was practically comatose. Jeff opened her door for her, but when she merely sat, staring straight ahead instead of getting out, Jeff lifted her into his arms and carried her in. Jack opened the door for him, and Marissa hovered nearby. Jeff sat on the couch with Mickey in his lap. "I need ice and some antiseptic and a wet cloth," he said. Jack went to find the essentials. Marissa knelt down in front of her sister and took her hand. "Mickey," she mumbled as tears ran freely down her cheeks. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." Her head dropped into Mickey's lap, and Marissa sobbed. Mickey's hand came up to rest on her sister's head, stroking her hair gently. And Jack came back, and Jeff began cleaning the blood from Mickey's face. She winced a couple of times, and he mumbled apologies as he worked on her. And finally he applied some antiseptic to her cut lip and 2 ice packs, one to her lip and the other to her eye that was already showing signs of a real shiner. Mickey rested her head against Jeff's chest and breathed deeply, inhaling his scent. He stroked her head as he told Jack and Marissa the part he'd seen, and wanting to know the rest, he asked Mickey some questions to get her started talking. Her story came out in bits and pieces. When she finished the telling, Jeff and Jack sat quietly, thinking how it could have ended much worse. The room was completely silent except for the mini pendulum clock sitting on the desk, so it caught everyone's attention when Marissa began to giggle. Mickey sniffed and looked at her. "What's so funny?" "Well, I just wish," Marissa began, her giggles turning into outright laughter. I just wish I could have been there to see." She laughed harder. "To see you on top of Dad, trying to choke." She had to stop to hold her stomach as she laughed, and Mickey began to giggle too. To see you choke him. What did his face look like?" She fell over onto her back laughing. "Well, his face was bright red, and his eyes," Mickey said, also beginning to laugh, "his eyes were all bugged out." Marissa shrieked with laughter. "And when you said," she held her hand up to ask everyone to wait on her, "and when you said, 'Screw you, mother dearest,' was it just the best?" Mickey wiped tears from her eyes. "It was fabulous," she laughed. Jeff's eyes met Jack's, and they both shook their heads. New scene. "I'm dreaming," Mickey said to herself. "This is the same dream. He's not real, he's not real," she chanted to herself as she watched Richard, blood dripping from his neck, crawl on top of her. He took his hand away from his throat to reveal a large, gaping black hole. He reached toward her, touching her, leaving bloody streaks on her pale skin. It's a dream, wake up. Please wake up." She looked away, but when she looked back, it wasn't Richard any longer. It was Butch, and his face was sad, and there was a large red stain on his shirt. "I'm sorry," he said. "I have to do this. I have to, for my brother. I'm sorry, little girl." "Please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up." Gasping, Mickey sat straight up in bed. Jeff was at her side. "I'm here, Mick. I'm here. It's okay. Just a bad dream." Mickey gazed up at him. "Jeff? What are you doing here?" Well, I stayed to watch over you. You were so out of it last night. I couldn't leave you. Regardless of how you feel about me, I love you, Mickey. I know you're probably upset that I stayed here, but it just seemed. She put a finger on his lips. I'm not upset. I'm glad you're here. You are? Jeff asked, a smile crossing his lips. Yes, I am. But I thought. I know, Jeff. Please don't ask me to explain it. I'm so confused and tired, and I don't want to think. Okay, no thinking. Maybe you'd like to tell me about the dream. She shuddered. It was horrible. The thing is, I knew I was dreaming, but I couldn't make myself wake up. Trapped, huh? Tell me about it. He held her tighter as she told him the bloody details. She didn't leave anything out, and when she finished, Jeff sat silently, thinking for a time as he stroked her arm and shoulder. So I guess there's no need to analyze it, Mickey said. It's pretty straightforward. Well, I don't know about that. The only thing I know is it's probably going to take some time before the nightmares stop, and I think you really need to think about seeing a shrink. Well, Mr. Keno came by yesterday to talk to me and asked me if I would allow him to recommend someone for me, and I said yes. Oh, good. Eric will find you the right person. He's a good man. Oh, he's more than just a good man. He's like, I don't know, powerful? He has an aura about him. I can't explain it. I know what you mean, and powerful is a good description. Some of us guys have talked about being around him. Feels like we're standing just outside of a nuclear power plant. He's very spiritual, really into Jesus. He and Jason, too, are responsible for the conversion of many of the Ameritech agents. They believe that as long as we stay on the right path, God will be with us. You too? Did he convert you? God converted me the night Keegan came for me. She nodded in understanding. I didn't realize you were a Christian. He frowned. Well, that means I'm not very good at it. It's kind of a hard road to walk, having to do things, hard things, violent things, and still remain Christ-like. But like you just said, or like you said Eric said, if you're doing those things for the right reasons, then God will be with you. He nodded, yeah. But kill a man first and then come and tell me how easy it is to keep things straight, because things can get confusing. At her muffled sound, he looked down at her and realized his mistake. Oh, I'm sorry, Mick. That was an automatic statement that I say inside my own head a lot to justify my feelings, so it just came out. I wasn't thinking. Of course I know that you know how it feels to take a life. She nodded. It's okay. Mr. Keno really helped me work through things in my mind. But you have piqued my curiosity. Have you had to kill many men? She asked softly. He grimaced. Well, even one is difficult, as you well know. She nodded. So you've only had to kill one man? Oh, I wish. He scrubbed his hands over his face. Listen, I'd rather not talk about this. I'm sorry, I get it. I guess I sort of went off on a tangent. So, I believe we were talking about how powerful Eric Keno seems. Yeah, he's a good man and has been like a second father to me. I have a great deal of love and respect for him and Shelley both. Where did you tell me your parents live? It was Utah, right? Yes, Utah. I have an older sister in Texas. She has 2 kids, boys, great kids. I'll get to see them on the 4th of July. And you're close to your parents? Very. That must be nice. She raised her head and looked over at the other side of the bed. It didn't look slept in. Oh, where were you sleeping? In the chair over there by the window. She looked down and licked her lips. I'm sorry, Jeff. I know I hurt you. Yeah, well, I love you, Mick, so you're not wanting to be with me hurts. Still, I can handle it. She turned in his arm so she could see his face. The thing is, Jeff, I'm so mixed up. Eric says I broke it off with you because I'm afraid you're going to abandon me. And I can see that. I am afraid. It's just that, well, I don't know what to do. Her voice choked with emotion. Oh, baby, Jeff soothed. It's okay. We can take it slow. You don't have to make any decisions right now. You take time to figure out how you feel. And I'll be here for you, Mick. I'm not going anywhere. When you're ready, I'll be here. I won't abandon you. Well, when you're not around, I think of you constantly. When you're near me, I feel calm and safe. Well, all you have to do is call me and I'll be at your side. Thank you, Jeff. Sighing, she leaned closer. Listen, I don't want you to read anything into this, but will you stay and lie down with me? Will you hold me? He smiled at her. I'd be happy to, and you can read anything you want into that. She gave a soft laugh, and Jeff kept his slacks on but removed his shirt and belt, and they snuggled down under the covers. He waited with great anticipation for her to turn into him and snuggle her face up against his throat, as was her habit. And when she did, the expected jolt of lust forced a soft moan from him, but he kept it under control, feeling only gratitude that she wanted him beside her. He closed his eyes and fell into a warm, peaceful slumber. New scene. What time will you be here? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'll be ready, Jeff said into his cell phone, his back leaning against the headboard of Mickey's bed. The door swung open and Marissa stepped into the room. Oh! Jeff held a finger up to her while he finished his conversation. Yes, sir, thanks. I'll see you soon. He ended the call. Hi, Marissa. She grinned. Hi. He rolled his eyes. Mickey's in the shower. She had a bad dream last night. I only kept her company. You don't have to explain anything to me. I think it's great that you two are together. Well, we're not, actually. I mean, we were, but she wants to slow things down, so now we're not. Whatever. She came forward and sat on the bed. So, you saw the cabin, right? The one where they held Mickey? Yeah, I saw it. Was it bad? It was bad. Bloody. Your sister's been through a lot, and she'll need you as much as you need her. Well, do you think that butch guy was telling the truth? I mean, that my father had her kidnapped and was going to have her killed? Well, I can't imagine why he would make that up. Yeah, that's how I see it, too. I believe it. I've been remembering stuff about my father. Things I must have, what's that word? Suppressed? Yeah, that's it. Things like what? Jeff asked. Him doing things to Mickey, hitting her, using a belt on her, pushing her, tripping her, smacking her around. Jeff muttered an obscenity. I was only 5 when she left home, and if I can remember all that, just think of what my mother or Miss Dora probably saw. Yeah, just think. We're going to be hearing some of that real soon. What do you mean? I can't talk about it right now. Just wait and see. Your father doesn't have much time left. He's going down. Marissa smiled. Thanks, Jeff. I mean, for caring about Mickey. I'm glad she has you. Are you two talking about me? Mickey asked as she emerged from the bathroom. Of course, Marissa answered. Man, your eye is really black. Yeah, it looks great, don't you think? Jeff only shook his head. He couldn't wait to bring down the man who'd tortured a young girl her entire life. He headed into the bathroom to shower and dress, and 15 minutes later, the 3 of them and Jack sat at the table in the small dining area. Nate's coming to relieve you, Jeff informed Jack. Jason and I have another meeting with the feds. Are you making any headway? Actually, yes. I'll tell you about it later. Jeff rose at the knock on the door. I'll get it. It's probably Nate. He opened the door to a 50-ish looking woman dressed in a navy blue business suit. Hello, Jeff said cautiously. Her eyebrows rose haughtily. I am here to see Mackenzie and Marissa Daly, she said. Jeff raised his brows right back at her. And you are? I don't believe that's any of your business. Actually, it is. I'm here at the request of the FBI to offer protection to Mackenzie Daly as a witness for their case against Talman Daly. I have no idea who you are, and until I'm satisfied you mean her no harm, you don't come in. I am with CPS, she said, looking down her nose. That's Child Protective Services. I know who CPS is. You have any ID? Jeff had no doubts she was who she said she was, and the 2 cops he'd spotted standing beside their car out by the curb was a very bad sign of things about to become unpleasant. The woman blew out an indignant breath as she pulled her credentials from her purse, and Jeff took them and examined them thoroughly, for no other reason than he didn't like her attitude. Finally, he opened the door and ushered the woman inside. Mickey and Marissa had heard the conversation and stood nearby. Mickey assumed the woman was there to make sure Marissa was safely ensconced in her new residence, but she was sadly mistaken. Please, come in, Mickey said pleasantly. They moved into the living room and sat down. Jeff and Jack held back. Jeff nodded toward the front window. Jack peeked out and saw the cops. "Aw, hell," he mumbled. "Miss Daly," the woman began without preamble, "I'm afraid I'm here to remove Marissa Daly from the premises." Mickey's face paled, and Marissa bounded to her feet. "No way! I'm not going anywhere." "Did Talman arrange this?" Mickey asked, her voice shaking. The woman looked up toward Marissa. "I'm afraid you have no choice in the matter." "Answer me," Mickey said louder this time. "Did my stepfather arrange this little show?" The woman pierced her with a venomous stare. "The senator has nothing to do with this." "Well, I have a temporary order of custody issued from the judge yesterday." "Yes, ma'am, I know that. The judge himself called CPS this morning and rescinded that order. He said it was in light of what he learned last night. He didn't want to be responsible for anything happening to Marissa." "In light of what he learned last night? What did he learn?" Mickey shrieked. Marissa whirled. "It was that stupid interview Dad did with the reporters, wasn't it?" "That was all a lie. You have to know that. He was lying." "Well, I can't believe the judge is going to remove my sister from my care because of some rumor he heard on television. What kind of quack is he?" "Well, that kind of talk will get you nowhere," the woman said snidely. She turned toward Marissa. "You will get your things now." "When hell freezes over," Marissa yelled, "I'm not going back to that house." The woman gasped. "Such language." "Oh, you ain't heard nothing yet. See what happens if you try to take me." "Where are you taking her?" Mickey asked, trying to stay calm. "I'm afraid that information is confidential. I can, however, tell you that she's not going back to her mother and father's home either. She would be placed in foster care until the matter is brought before the judge in a hearing scheduled in 3 weeks. 3 weeks? You're crazy," Marissa turned to Mickey. "Tell her, Mick," Marissa pleaded, her voice shaking. "Tell her I'm staying with you." Mickey's heart broke at the desperation in her sister's voice. She turned back to the woman as her eyes welled with tears. "Please, is there no way around this?" "I'm afraid not. My hands are tied. Miss Daly, may I ask what happened to your eye?" Mickey looked toward Jeff where he stood in the dining room, and Jeff shook his head, and she looked back at the woman. "I ran into a door." Lips pressed tightly together, the woman rose from the sofa and nodded at Marissa. "Get your things, young lady. We need to go." "I already told you I'm not going anywhere with you." "Well, I have 2 police officers waiting outside to enforce the judge's orders if necessary." Mickey looked to Jeff again, who'd moved into the room to stand near the wall. He nodded his head, and she stood and placed her hands on Marissa's shoulders. "Marissa, I love you with all my heart, and I promise I'll get you back. Please, sweetie, be brave." "It will be much better for you if I don't have to use the police escort," the CPS woman declared. "Don't you threaten my sister," Mickey said fiercely. "I'll handle this. You shut your mouth." Jeff smiled. "That a girl," Jack said for all to hear. Mickey looked back at her sister. Tears poured over Marissa's cheeks, causing Mickey to start crying too. "Marissa, if there was any way I could keep this from happening, I swear I would." Marissa, affected by her sister's tears, wiped her own away. I know that, Mick. It's just that all this time I thought I'd never see you again, and now here you are, and they're taking me away from you." Her brow furrowed, and she looked at her sister with resolve. "You know what? I just realized something. Jeffy went through so much, and so did you, and Cameron too. I guess it's time for me to be strong and take my turn. It's not so bad. I mean, I'm not being kidnapped. I can do this." "Oh, Marissa, you're so grown up," Mickey cried. She held open her arms, and Marissa threw herself against her sister. The old bat wisely remained quiet as she waited for them to finish embracing. They pulled away from each other, wiping their tears. Marissa glanced at the woman. "I'll be down in a minute." She turned and went up the stairs, and Mickey scowled fiercely at the woman. "You'd better hope nothing happens to her, and no one mistreats her while she's in your custody, or I'll bring suit against CPS and against you personally." "Well, there's no need to get personal, Miss Daly. On the contrary, this is very personal. You just remember my words. I can assure you your sister will be well taken care of." "Oh, you'd better pray she is," Mickey said. "And you know what? You can tell the judge Mickey, didn't you want to go upstairs and make sure Marissa has everything she needs? Mickey's eyes met Jeff's. He smiled and nodded at her. Excuse me, Mickey said as she made her way upstairs. A few minutes later, the sisters reappeared, the tears flowing once more. Marissa hugged her sister again and then moved to Jack and hugged him. You keep that chin up, Jack said. You never know what this little adventure will bring. Marissa smiled at him. I will, she promised. She hugged Jeff next. Take care of Mickey, she said, her voice breaking. You know I will. I'll tell you a secret, he said softly. Marissa leaned forward and Jeff whispered in her ear. She smiled up at him and threw her arms around his neck and kissed his cheek, and she strode to the door and opened it and walked bravely out. The woman hurried to catch up. Only a few minutes after Marissa was gone, Nate arrived, and Jack took his leave. And Jeff filled Nate in on what had transpired with CPS, and then called Jason and told him, and Jason made a call to his brother to make sure they had things under control where Mickey's sister was concerned. Jeff pulled Mickey into the kitchen with him. I have to go now. Are you going to be okay? She nodded. I think so. I hate that Marissa has to go through this, but I feel better knowing that Mr. Lee's brother is looking into things. Just wondering where she is and what she's doing, it makes me crazy. Well, I get that for sure. I mean, when Jeffy was missing, the things running through my mind that she would be experiencing, where she was, what she was doing, or even worse, what was being done to her. Mickey nodded. I bet the Kenos were about to have a heart attack. Well, you know, they were concerned, but their modus operandi is, in times of stress, is trusting God. Or they're pretty amazing people. I guess I should follow their lead. Heck, like she said, Marissa hasn't been kidnapped by some evil sicko. Exactly. She's a strong girl, Mickey, just like you. She'll be okay. It's not forever. I know. I just worry. She smiled up at him. Anyway, I'm glad you were here. Thanks for that. Thanks for everything. You're welcome. So tell me, what did you whisper to Rissa? It was a secret. If I tell you, then it's not a secret anymore. Brushing his hand over her cheek, he smiled. I have to go. I'll call to check on you. You can call me if you need anything, okay? She smiled and nodded. Leaning forward, she rested her head against his chest. His arms came around her, holding her tight. She looked back up at him, and he couldn't resist. Using his fingers to tilt her head up, he gently touched his lips to hers. He lingered right there for a few seconds, and then the moment ended, and Jeff pulled away. Sorry, he said, not really meaning it. He turned and left the house. New scene. Jeffy stood in front of the mirror, gazing at her body, the memories of Cam's kisses running through her mind. They had arrived home late the evening before. She had endured the ministrations of her mother and the lecturing and admonishments of her father, and then fallen into bed thinking she would sleep like the dead. Yet the dreams and visions came more than ever before. The dreams were mostly of Cam. Ashamedly, at times it would begin with Cam and end with someone else, someone familiar, yet she couldn't quite place him. The visions were not so pleasant. She'd wake from a dream only to have pictures of events flash through her mind like some horror movie trailer. Now, as she stood in her room in the light of day, showered and dressed, she gazed at herself and realized that something about her had changed. She felt more grown up. She had not crossed that rite of passage as she had heard her mother speak about the other night. Yet there was something different about her. She felt much more connected, like her mind and body were finally beginning to understand the vastness of what a living, breathing, conscious human being was capable of. It was a beautiful thing. And though she'd almost ignored God's warning that first night in the motel room, the second time out in the forest with Cam to keep her warm, she'd recognized his voice and listened. Maybe that is why she was feeling different, because she listened. She was obedient, and she felt more connected than ever. Smiling, she remembered the warmth of Cam's mouth as he'd kissed her. How amazing is this earthly body that can feel so much both physically and emotionally, she thought. No matter what, she would never regret offering herself to Cam, because doing so taught her so much about herself and about him. It had allowed her to draw close to him, and she had experienced something amazing with him, and that made him special. Hearing the front door open and people being greeted, she counted to 10 with a smile, and by the time she reached the last number, Kimmy Lee came bursting through the bedroom door. Jeffy! Oh, Jeffy, Mickey said, throwing her arms around her and hugging her tight. Jeffy smiled warmly at her friend. Hi, Kim. Hi, Kim? Is that all you have to say? Jeffy shook her head. No, I have a lot to tell you, even though I've been instructed that there are some details I'm not allowed to speak to you about. And you intend to follow those instructions? Jeffy grinned. Well, actually, I'm going to try. But don't worry, you'll get the gist of everything. Kimmy's nose turned up, her lips pursed, and then she smiled. I'm just so glad you're okay. I'll have to forgive anything else. Thanks, Kimmy, Jeffy said. She held out her arms and they hugged, and the world went gray and cold. Suddenly, she felt as if the floor had fallen away from beneath their feet, and Kimmy's hands grabbed her shirt, pulling her as if she were trying to pull them down, and their hair flew out around their shoulders as if in a great whirlwind, and she couldn't breathe, and Kimmy looked into her eyes with a look of abject terror on her face. It seemed she was sinking, and she tried to pull Kimmy's hands away from her, but her friend held fast as if her very life depended on it, and she heard Kimmy scream, and then slowly her senses came back to her. Jeffy lay on the floor, the soft white carpet feeling warm and dry and secure beneath her. Kimmy was kneeling next to her, shaking her. Jeffy, what is wrong? What's happening? And the door burst open. Jeffy blinked, looking up at her father as he rushed into the room, and then she was in his protective embrace, her head pressed against his chest, and she could hear her mother's soft voice and feel her hands on her hair. Kimmy! Where's Kimmy? Jeffy asked, panic in her voice. I'm right here, Jeffy, Kimmy said. What happened? Are you okay? Oh, of course I am. I'm fine. What happened, Jeffy? Her father asked. I don't know. It seemed. The tears came. She buried her face against her father's chest and wept. What did it seem? Shelley asked softly. Jeffy sniffed and shook her head. I don't know. It's all a blur now. I don't want to talk about it. I mean, not now. Eric gazed deep into his daughter's eyes and nodded in understanding. Well, we'll talk later, he assured her, and Jeffy smiled. Her father understood. He always understood. She'd had a vision, a very unpleasant vision, and it concerned her friend, and she was frightened that it just might come true. New scene. Well, this totally sucks, Cameron said. Yeah, it does, Marissa agreed. I mean, the lady here, she seems nice enough, but it's not home. It's so weird, you know. It's like in a few days' time, my whole life has fallen apart. It fell apart the minute your father decided to off your sister. Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't want to talk about it anymore. How's Jeffy? She's good. She told me to tell you to call her. So, listen, what are the ground rules? I mean, will these people let you date? I don't know. I'll have to check it out. Why? You asking? I mean, I'm all the way over in Olympia. That's only an hour away. That's not bad. So, yeah, I'm asking. We'll go get a pizza or something. Go to a movie. Do something. Well, I'll find out and let you know. Hang tough, Rissa, and don't forget to call Jeffy. I will, and I won't. New scene. You didn't have to cook dinner for us, Nate said. Mickey looked up at him through bleary eyes. Well, I'm going crazy. I had to do something. She held her glass of Bailey's up and shook the ice. Are you sure you won't have one? I don't drink, Mickey, and I'm not sure that you should be drinking either. She giggled. Why not? What difference will it make? Everyone's gone to hell anyway. Everything's gone to hell. My baby sister's been taken away to God knows where. My mother's a drugged-out zombie. The whole world thinks I'm mentally deranged. I'll probably never sell another book. And the man responsible for it all is sitting over there in his fancy mansion, probably eating some fancy meal in his fancy dining room, being waited on hand and foot by my mother and her faithful housekeeper. The knock on the door saved Nate from the conversation, and he went to answer it. Jeff, I am freaking glad you're back. Why, what's up? Nate nodded toward the kitchen. Mickey has decided to tie one on. Jeff heaved a sigh. Well, this should be entertaining. Oh, there you are, Mickey said loudly as she set a salad on the little dining table. I decided to cook. I hope you like it. I'm sure it's great, he said. It smells fantastic. His eyes swept the frilly, flowery dress she wore that flowed around her as she moved. She'd carelessly twisted her hair up in a clip. Strands fell loose around her face and at the back of her neck. Swaying slightly, she returned to the kitchen. Well, this looks great. I love lasagna. It's one of my favorites, Nate said. Can I help set the table? Mickey returned with a basket of garlic bread, which she placed on the table. Sure. And Jeff, would you mind opening the wine for me? Not at all. I'll just have some water, Nate said as he got his glass. Jeff washed his hands, found the wine, and joined Nate and Mickey at the table. Mickey eased down in her chair and turned her attention on Nate. So, Nathaniel Hawk, why don't you drink? He smiled. My body is a temple. Mickey hiccuped loudly. Oops, sorry. Well, that's very ingenious of you, Nate. He smiled and glanced at Jeff. Thanks. I understand you actually live here in Seattle, she said. Yes, just north in Redmond. And you're Native American, aren't you? She questioned. Blackfoot. Blackfoot Indian is what we like to say. Well, I think that's lovely. Just lovely. And terribly interesting. Are you married? Mickey asked as she scooped some lasagna from the pan and placed it on the plate. Married 6 years, and I have 3 kids. He took a bite. Oh, man, Nate said, his mouth full. Now this is good. I'm so glad you like it, Mickey cooed with a smile. She glanced over at Jeff and lifted her wine glass. So, did you accomplish anything wonderful today, Agent Jefferson Davis? Catch any bad guys? He smiled at her. We made some progress. He nodded at his plate. This is really good stuff. You know, you should eat, Mick. She downed her wine and set the glass by her plate. I think I will. So tell me what you have so far, Nate said to Jeff. He crunched down on the buttery garlic bread and gave a soft moan before he spoke. Well, last night we drove out to speak with the housekeeper, Doris Juarez, and her family. She has 2 sons and a daughter, all grown. Miss Juarez was holding back, and so I took her aside and let her know exactly what we think. We? Eric, Jason, me, and now the feds. And that is, Nate asked. Daly threatened her family in some way. Mickey drained her glass and poured more. Nate nodded. Did she admit to it? Yes. We have to make arrangements for her family, put them in protective custody, and then she'll come in and talk to us. And that should be taken care of by tomorrow. I can tell you this. She's terrified of Daly. She says we don't understand what he's capable of. And apparently she knows things that would put him away for a long time. Well, that sounds promising. Anything else? Nate asked. Oh, yes. Eric found out from Marissa that Daly had a laptop computer. It was the laptop Jeffy got into, not the PC. But there was no laptop confiscated. Right. And the feds arrived only a few minutes after Kurt Wells left with Jeffy, and Daly didn't have time to get rid of it, so they're thinking he gave it to Wells to get rid of. Is he talking yet? Not yet, but in the morning we're going back out to the mountains with Cameron. Well, we spoke with Cameron again today, and he thinks he remembers Wells slowing down, maybe tossing something out the window of the car when he drove Jeffy into the mountains. Okay, so we're thinking that's the missing laptop, Nate asked. Jeff shrugged. It has to be. Nate nodded. We'll find that missing laptop, retrieve the hard drive, probably all we'll need. Hopefully dates, times, locations of an arms deal, Jeff said. We're also looking for this Butch guy's identity. Mickey told Eric that Butch had a brother. If we can figure out who Butch really is and who his brother is, it might help. Jeff turned to Mickey. Butch didn't say anything else about his family. Mickey smiled sleepily and shook her head. Butch said he didn't have a family. He said his mother was some crack whore who died when he was young. He never knew his father. Jeff nodded. Well, that's the information we already have. I was just hoping there was something more. Mickey shook her head. I told them about the girlfriend back when he was 18, she said, her words beginning to slur worse. Her father had him thrown in jail for statutory rape. The feds are trying to narrow that down. A lot of ex-cons did time for that. We're talking 50 states, and we can only guess at the approximate year. Well, he had a northern accent, like Brooklyn, Mickey said, pouring another glass. Frowning, Jeff reached for the bottle, poured himself some wine, and placed the bottle away from Mickey. You need to eat something, Mick. Mickey picked up her glass and swirled the contents. Poor guy. He never had a chance. Dick blew him away just like that, she said, snapping her fingers as her eyes filled with tears. He was holding my hand when it happened. Did I tell you that? I couldn't see past him, and he was blocking my view and standing in front of me like he was trying to protect me. His hand jerked, you know. He squeezed my hand tighter before it went loose. Poor guy. Well, by your own admission, that poor guy intended to end your life, Jeff reminded her. She shrugged, choosing to ignore his statement completely. I wish I had my computer back. I need to do something. I could at least pull up my new book and work on it, you know? Can you get it back for me, Jeff? I'll check into it tomorrow. Mickey finished off her glass of wine and held it out for Jeff to refill. I think you've had enough, he said. She wiggled the glass in her fingers. I'll be the judge of that. Actually, why don't we let me be the judge tonight? They took my sister from me today, she said vehemently. Just came in and took her like they had a right. I know, sweetie, we'll get her back. Just took her, Mickey said again. I hate him. What do you think about that, huh? I despise him. He liked to hit me, you know. I think he got off on it. Whatever. I hate him. Jeff nodded at Nate. If you want to go home to your family, we're good here for the night. Nate cleared his plate. Well, let me help with the dishes. I got 'em, Jeff said. Go kiss your wife. Oh, but you don't have to ask me twice to do that, Nate said. He leaned over and kissed Mickey's cheek. Go easy there, champ. You're going to feel it tomorrow. Bye, Nate, she said sweetly. Jeff frowned at Mickey. Eat. Stop being so bossy. I don't want to eat. I want to get sloppy drunk. You get that, Jeff? She said angrily. He sighed. Yeah, I get it. However, I want you to drink less and eat more. You can't tell me what to do. Fine, you're absolutely right. I'm just concerned for your well-being. You want to make yourself sick? You go right ahead. He rose and began clearing the table. Mickey grabbed the wine bottle and poured the rest in her glass and drank it down, then rose and joined Jeff in the kitchen. Where do you get off sounding so self-righteous? From what I understand, the other night you did the exact same thing. And I paid for it. She shrugged. And I'm sure I will too. Maybe that's what I'm looking for, some sort of self-flagellation. She found her original glass of Bailey's, added ice, and filled the glass to the rim, and then stood with her back to the counter, eyeing Jeff as he rinsed dishes and put them in the dishwasher. Jeff thought about her words as he worked. He'd gotten drunk the other night because he was feeling sorry for himself. She was doing it tonight to punish herself. Judging from what she'd said earlier, she felt guilty for Butch's death. Plus, it sounded like she was having a hard time getting the memory of how it went down out of her head. Maybe he could help her work through it. He certainly had enough experience with therapy that he could practice a little amateur session with her. He put the leftovers away, wiped the counter, and turned to her. How you doing? He said. She shrugged. Thanks for doing the dishes. No problem. He smiled kindly at her. Why don't we go sit on the sofa and talk some things out? She turned up her glass, drank down the contents, and slammed it down on the counter. Smiling, she crooked a finger at Jeff. Eyebrows raised, he moved forward. What? She grabbed his shirt and pulled him close. Kiss me. He started to refuse, however, the temptation was too great, and a kiss was not asking that much. Why not? His head dipped and he gently took her mouth, but pulled away when her hand drifted down. A kiss was one thing, but she was in no shape to do anything else. What? She asked innocently. I can tell you want me. Come here. He shook his head. No, Mick, not like this. She moved forward, rubbed her hand over his chest. He gently but firmly pushed her hands away. Come on, sweetheart, let's go sit down. We'll talk. She pushed away and leaned back against the counter. I don't want to talk, Jeff. I want you right now. Jeez, Mick. She jumped up onto the counter. Tell me you don't want me. I dare you. Oh, I want. Well, then let's do this. He shook his head. I can't do that when you're drunk, Mickey. She slammed her hands down on the counter beside her. Why? Is this some kind of attempt at chivalry? Not really. It just wouldn't be right. If you were sober and told me you wanted me, believe me, I'd be really considering it right now. And that is saying a lot because we just had that talk about me being a Christian, and I'd like to think I'm stronger than that. But not like this, when you can claim you weren't in your right mind. I'm telling you, Jeff, make love to me. Mickey eyed. He closed his eyes. Please, Jeff, she begged. He moved close to her. I'm glad you need me. I need you too. But I won't make love to you when you're not in your right mind. He reached up and lifted her off the counter and pulled her against him. At least kiss me, she demanded. He didn't argue with her. He tilted her face up and kissed her. Please, Jeff, I need you. Please, she said softly as her tears flowed. He kissed her softly. She looked up at him. She wanted him to make her forget. No more pain, no more memories, no more terror. Please, no more terror. Her head fell onto his shoulder, and Jeff lifted her into his arms and carried her upstairs to her bed. And that is the end of chapter 12. Bum, bum, bum.